Okay, we're recording. Yay. Okay, well, why don't we start the holidays? We are very glad that you all showed up to our pre-holiday Q&A event, where we are going to talk about all things AO Medical. So any questions you have, things you've been thinking about, have been unable to ask for whatever reason, we will be doing that and answering those questions tonight. I am Rachel Robbins, and that is Lynn Hero, for those of you that don't know us. We are both sisters all of our lives, and both estheticians, me 19 years and Lynn 21 years. So we both own and operate six-figure skincare businesses, and we continue to maintain that income while working part-time. And so Lynn and I both believe that a significant contributor to that is the fact that we implemented all of these lovely Korean skincare treatments, devices, products into our business. We get thrilled when people find out about AO Medical products because it's really changed the game for us. And we already had a good game going. So the fact that you could take it even further, you know, it's a big deal, right? So AO Medical, for those of you that don't know, is a distributor of Korean skincare lines and devices. AO Medical is also co-owner of HOP, that has a little plus sign by it. And that's known for the needle-free filler facial. And they also co-owner of the new Heox line. So we, or people who have wholesale accounts, we have access to like multiple high-end, powerful skincare lines. There was a question that was submitted asking about minimums. And when we work with AO Medical, there are no minimum opening orders. There's no reorder minimums that some companies have, and the shipping is free if it's above 200. So there's no online price competition. They've got excellent support if those of you have tapped into that. They also have great free education. And like those are a lot of the reasons why Lynn and I both say that AO Medical is the most favorite company that we've ever worked with. And we have, 20 years each experience. And so that kind of says a lot. So because of how much we've loved these lines, how results oriented they are, and also super innovative. And then also coupled with the fact that we're really passionate about sharing and then helping other estheticians grow, Lynn and I became reps for AO Medical. So we're reps and educators for AO Medical. So that kind of grew out of us working with the products and treatments in our own skincare practices. So the Esti Sisters was born. And so, speaking of these classes, the Eventbrite classes, so these are open to everyone, regardless of who your rep is. Though I know that many of you, we are your reps on here. So we have had questions or a question on how do the reps work? How do I get an account, or how to reach out to us? And so I'm just going to briefly cover that. If you are not working with a rep, or if you're new, we'd love to connect with you and be your rep. So I have already put in the chat our website. It's theestisisters.com, and that has on the menu bar, there is an opportunity to book a discovery call. So anybody who doesn't have a rep, or even you guys that we are your reps already, if you need to have some personalized attention, please feel free to go to theestisisters.com, and there's book a discovery call. And then you can find a time that works for you, and we'd be thrilled to do that. And then also, a few of you didn't even have accounts. So on the estisisters.com, there also is an option to, it's a wholesale form that you click on, and then that'll give you access to a form that you fill out, and then we can get you signed up for an account. So I already covered just a couple of questions that were asked, but we're going to cover the questions that were asked in advance or submitted in advance first. And then at the end, when we're done with those, then we'll have you guys submit additional questions that you have. And then just before we jump into the questions too, I just want to remind you guys throughout too that there's going to be more in-depth deep dive knowledge given on our YouTube channel. I know AO Medical has posted some of our protocols and our videos on their site, and then they also have some of their own on there as well. And then, of course, those of you that are working with us, we have our group where we post information there as well.
Sure. Okay, so we're kind of going in order here, and I kind of grouped questions together because some people there was a little bit of overlap with some of the questions. Okay, so first off, someone asked if we could do a little more, go into a little more depth with the Heox formulation and its effects. And then there's a few other questions specifically regarding the Heox as well. So for those of you not familiar with the Heox line, it is a newer product line by TOV Medical, which is the same manufacturer as the House of PLLA, formerly Sculpla line. So I'll just show you, we've got 3 current products. We've got a Heox exfoliating pads, 55 pads in here. We've got a gold ampule, and we have a newer phenomenal gold eye lift cream. Okay, so what's special and what's unique about the Heox line? So when you think about, this is how I explain it to people, and we're going to do a little deeper dive into the HOP as well, because people ask questions about that. But this, to keep it simple, I always say the HOP line, the House of PLA line, is our polylactic acid. It's our biostimulating line, anti-aging, creating collagen, stimulating collagen. The Heox line is the line that contains, at the minimum, cross-board, topical neurotoxin. Okay, so in Korea, they actually call it topical Botox. We can't say that legally here in the United States because of, you know, trademark purposes, but we have the same botulinum A in there. Okay, so somebody had asked that question whether or not it actually contains botulism or botulinum A, and it does. Okay, so first off, we want to let you guys know that we did probably like a month and a half ago, Rach, we did a wonderful class, a deep dive on the Heox line. We also went through the history of Botox, like discovery of botulism, how it was used, how many years it's been around, the safety, the efficacy, and then the evolution of topical neurotoxin. Okay, so for those of you not familiar with that, in about 2017, Allergan, there were a couple other companies. Allergan was one of them, manufacturer Botox, that halted. They were in phase 3 clinical trials for topical Botox. And Korea had been working parallel on their own topical Botox line with an ingredient SP1 and TOC since 2004. And they actually then accumulated and launched Heox through TOV Medical was the first company to bring to market this line containing topical neurotoxin. So Heox, I think of it as when your clients, who is going to use this product line, these would be clients that need firming, tightening, and smoothing of the skin. Clients that are currently getting Botox, this can help extend the life of the Botox that they're getting injected. Just like HOP, it can extend the life of their fillers as well. What I really like about this particular product line, you can use it. Rachel and I just created a brand new protocol for the treatment room. But typically when somebody's using any of these products, it's meant to be used at home and have cumulative effects, meaning you're using it daily and it's going to start to build up in the skin. Someone had asked whether or not, the person I believe asking whether or not it actually is real topical neurotoxin in it. I think there was a little bit of concern, and we covered this in our class, whether or not, you know, it's safe. A lot of people get a little bit nervous saying, hey, I'm going to use botulism. You know, I don't want to really use a toxin. And how I address that, and this is why I wanted to talk a little bit more about this here, because a lot of questions we have are people like, how do I sell this to my clients, right? So separate from saying, hey, if you need firming, tightening, toning, smoothing, this line is great. But it probably will come up from time to time that some clients are going to have that question of, you know, do I really want, if I don't want to inject Botox, do I really want to be putting topical neurotoxin on my skin as well? So what we found is that it actually does not accumulate in the cells. It does not get in the bloodstream. Okay, so very safe. And for those of you who, know the Botox has been around, not cosmetically, but clinically for over 50 years, very safe. Okay, so a lot of research. Usually the problems that arise with Botox is usually actually injector error. But again, this is not getting into the muscle. This is going to stay more superficially, but it is going to have that tightening effect and a lifting effect. So what I say to the clients is comparing it to homeopathy. There are homeopathy ingredients, and I'll just give a couple examples. I have a homeopathy product that I take, and it actually has belladonna in it, which technically is a poisonous plant. And there are also homeopathy ingredients like arsenic that people take. So at low levels, it can actually have a therapeutic effect in the body, okay? So the idea behind Botox, topical neurotoxins, is that they've realized that injecting a small amount of that into the muscle could help people years ago with like muscle spasms, Bell's palsy, things like that. So again, if you let your clients know that actually they're utilizing that in medications and even natural holistic remedies, that not to be afraid. Like there's nothing really that would be unsafe as far as using a topical neurotoxin, okay? So we also have for selling, because this comes up like, how do I sell this product to my clients, right? So for those of you not familiar, when you place your orders with AO Medical, you have an opportunity in your cart. If you scroll down to the bottom of your cart, you have a note section and you can ask for brochures, some literature. And there is a phenomenal brochure that's all on the Heox line. And this would be great for customers. I give this to my customers all the time, you guys. It goes through all 3 products. So it goes through the pads, it goes through the ampule, it goes through the new eye lift cream, and talks specifically about what it works, how it works. And I think that'll be really helpful for you guys. So even if you kind of forget, it's really nice to give a little sample to a client. I love sampling the eye cream and saying, hey, for more information, here, take that home. So we do have literature. Lydia has literature on, the needle-free filler facial for clients. There's a couple different brochures. She also has different flyers that are available that go more in depth. So again, we have these available for the Heox line, HOP, the new Tramdy, and sometimes even for devices. So again, if you feel like you need a little bit more support, you want some information, not only for yourself, but for your clients, remember to ask for that with your orders. Another thing you guys could do, and I did this, in my treatment room, you know how you can get plastic standing kind of display things, you can get them at Office Max or whatever. I take my brochures or flyers and I put them in, one of these things. You can keep them in your waiting room, keep it in your treatment room or whatever. So you guys have the opportunity to do that with different pieces of literature as well, to kind of, just be a, kind of a conversation starter for clients as well. Okay, so again, in depth, if you guys want a deep dive on the key ingredients, you guys want a deep dive on more on Botox itself, we have on YouTube. Rachel and I have a phenomenal YouTube channel. We're trying to put more content there, but we have a deep dive into Heox, what it is, what topical Botox is. And we will be putting out there very, very shortly our Heox advanced skin tightening treatment. And I want to give a shout out to Desiree. She had reached out to us a little bit ago. You let me know your beautiful before and afters, that when we put these protocols together, we want you guys to know that they are protocols that we're using in our treatment room. We're using modalities that we have, but you can customize these treatments. So if you have a different modality that you want to use or a different device, you guys can't. So they're not like set in stone, but they are simply protocols that we have found that are very effective and maybe unique ways of working with the product. So that's what we love to do. We love to come up with new protocols for you guys. So that particular facial treatment is going to be on YouTube. For those of you who are working with us in our Facebook group, we have all the written protocols. We have the videos and demos in there as well. Okay, so we talked about Botox, the toxin itself, about it being safe. Incorporating Heox and HOP with home care. Rachel, do you have the graphic available or able to post in the chat section?
I'm not sure if it'll let me do that. I can try. Oh yeah, photo. Okay, I can try to do that.
Yay.
Okay, before
Okay.
that, Lynn, wait a second. Did you cover pregnancy safe? I don't remember if you did that or not.
I'm going to talk about pregnancy safe in terms of products in general, but
the Heox
specifically about the Heox. Yeah. So as far as I know, I mean, like, this doesn't get into the bloodstream. The HOP products are safe. The Heox products, to me, I mean, I don't see that would be not safe. Again, it's not getting into the bloodstream. So, but if you had a question and you were concerned, you could have your clients maybe not do the Heox. We know for sure the HOP line is totally safe. There's nothing contraindicated with the polylactic acid. So again, it's a small amount. It's not getting into the bloodstream. So I would say it would be safe. But again, if a client has a question about it, they can, talk to their doctors about it. But I will talk about that in a little bit more when I talk about pregnancy. That comes up in another question. Okay, so the graphic that Rachel's going to be posting is we have incorporated and kind of created a suggested regimen if a client was on the HOP products and the Heox products, so you would have an idea of how you would layer those together, okay, like in what order. So if you can't see it posted in the chat section here, it is available on the class that we do. We have it in the class. And several of you have asked us for the slide deck for the Heox class, so we can get that to people as well. The other thing I want to mention is that when we do these classes as well, we also try to highlight the products, and we go through and give you the key ingredients and the key benefits so that you guys can market that to your clients. So again, we try to be really supportive in the classes, not just simply saying like what the product is or, you know, in general, how to use it, but also how do you sell it? How do you market it to your clients?
Yeah. So when the question is, how can I incorporate Heox into the HOP home care routine? So we're assuming that we already have our clients on the HOP products. So we call this protocol where you're incorporating both Heox and HOP, we call it the needle-free liquid facelift. You know how you hear the liquid facelift, which is basically injectables, your Botox, and then your fillers. Well, this is the needleless liquid facelift. Okay. So what Lynn was saying earlier, the HOP, the stimulating collagen, the plumping, the filling in of wrinkles, the Heox is the smoothing, the firming, you know, that you get from the topical neurotoxin. So the picture that I just sent is going to show you play by play. So I'm just going to quickly cover it, but it's on there. You know, after cleansing, you can do in the morning, you can do the Heox pads. And then you can do the gold ampule from the Heox line. And then you're going to do your HOP promoter repair cream. And now you're going to obviously do some eye cream, whether it's the Heox gold eye lift cream, the HOP eye and lip cream. Sometimes people are blending those together. I personally, and Lynn personally, we like to use those separately because we like that full concentration of each because they're so phenomenal. So if I'm working with someone that has a lot of hollowing under the eyes, I'm going to go more with the promoter repair eye cream if I had to choose. If I've got somebody that hollowing is less of an issue, the volume loss, but needs more of the firming, lifting, and all the other yummy benefits that go with the gold and the smoothing of the wrinkles and the depuffing and things like that, I would go with the Heox 24 karat gold serum. The mist you can apply after because it does have a setting component that kind of slightly occlusive that kind of sets off everything. And then of course our all mineral sunscreen. When I'm talking to a client, I tell them there is a lot of flex in this protocol. And I'm telling you that too as estheticians. So I work with people if they're not on, let's say they're also on the Paleo Prep, which is in our nighttime, you know, suggested nighttime routine here. If you notice that, that's first. And then it comes with the Heox daily exfoliating pads. Well, if they didn't have the HOP skin prep, then we're going to start with the exfoliating pads. If they have both, then I could say, hey, you know, put a little bit of the HOP skin prep onto your Heox pad. That's what some people are doing. Or we would do the pads first, and then you'd put on your HOP skin prep because it's a leave-on, and then you'd move forward with your Cavi, your gold, your promoter repair moisturizer, and then your lip cream and your sunscreen or your stem cell mist. So, you know, I think that there is a lot of flex. I mean, some people use the mist throughout the day. Some people start with the mist. Some people set it off, you know, at the end of their protocol. It's not like, you know, you go to thinnest to thickest. So as we always remember that, that's something to be, you know, mindful of. Do you have any questions on that, Lynn? Did I cover everything?
Well, a couple things. One is, first off, I am one of those persons that has hollow, but I like the fine line and wrinkle support. Okay. So a couple options. You can layer, like I don't mix them, but you can layer like the HOP one and then put some Heox, or you can have a client use one in the morning and one at night. But I definitely need both, like, because you can see that I have hollows because my cheeks went south. But then I also want to work with that fine line and wrinkles. So like Rachel said, though, if a client can only choose one, obviously you're going to go with, you know, what would be most impactful for them.
Yeah.
And for the Heox one, just a quick thing, for tightening, it does have the retinaldehyde. So it does do some mild exfoliation as well. It has caffeine and coffee beans. So it does help really well with puffy eyes. So if you have a client that's not dealing with hollows, more on the puffy side, because we've had this feedback a little bit before we had the Heox, where people are like, hey, you know, it's not really helping with the puffy eyes and using the HOP, and it's because it's a biostimulator and it does increase fat stores and volumizes. That's probably why that particular client wasn't seeing the relief, right? So the Heox would be ideal for them. But I'm just letting you guys know that if somebody is in need of both, they could do one in the morning, one at night, or they could layer if they needed to. The other thing I want to mention, because it can be a little confusing, So in the protocol, you may be thinking like, well, why would they need 2 exfoliants? Why would they need the skin prep and they'd be using the exfoliating pads? Okay, because they're actually doing a couple different things here. So the skin prep, when I really add that in, is if a client really needs some extra support with hyperpigmentation because it has the snow mushroom in there. The snow mushroom is a natural form of kojic acid. So if a client is really in need of that, I'm going to make sure they have that. If a client is not so much in need of help with hyperpigmentation and they want to use the Heox pads for exfoliation, and again, remember that all 3 of the Heox products have the topical neurotoxin in it. It's just the delivery system is a little different. So, people ask that, like they're, like, do I need both? Do I really need both?
Yeah.
The other thing also is that we're giving you guys, like, I would say best case scenario, assuming that clients are going to like love and be on all the products. You realize we do have clients that sometimes, I kid you not, right? They're like, we're lucky they're using soap or just water. So then I'm starting my clients with cleanser and sunscreen usually, right? And then we get them in a moisturizer. So we're not leading them to like, 10 different products, whatever. So again, you work with where your client's at.
Yeah. And then Lynn, I think that's a good point. That for me, I really do love giving clients a few things to try. I usually start, of course, with the sunscreen and the cleanser, but also the Cavipla and the Promoter Pure Moisturizer, things like that. And then they see how incredible those products are. And then they have a trust, but they have a deeper trust in me and these products. And then usually what I recommend after, maybe they were reluctant to use 4 products at night. Now they're okay with that because they see what the first 2 or 3 have done to their skin. And so it's kind of working with your clientele. But usually the Cavipla and the Promoter Pure Moisturizer are the ones that I lead with because those are the really phenomenal right away products. As far as incorporating or how to retail Heox, so I've got my people already on well, actually, I'll tell you how I incorporate anything. Like they're already on, let's say 3 or 4 products or 3 products, and I get the new skin prep in. And I'm like, okay, so guys, we've got this line. This is what it does, the plumps and smoothing, et cetera, et cetera. So now we don't have an exfoliant. I took away your retinol, but now this line has a daily exfoliant that's beautiful for tightening the pores, for brightening of the skin, and it's very, very gentle. And so since they're already on the other products, they absolutely love them. They're like, okay, let's sign me up. So we start there. So when the Heox came out, I just explained it like Lynn was explaining it. The firming, the lifting, the smoothing helps extend the life of your Botox. And if you're not on Botox, it actually really does help over time. It's almost like, I don't say glass-like skin, because we're using that in other, contexts, but in a way, yeah, the smoothing that I've seen from my clients. So I would tell a new client, hey, I've seen this incredible smoothing over time of my clients that already look phenomenal because they were on the HOP products. So this exfoliant can be used on all skin types, super easy. We cut them in half. They've got 52 pads cut in half. So it's going to last you many, many months. So the value is there. So I kind of sell it that way. And then the gold, all the benefits of gold. So if I don't know what those benefits are, I actually, that brochure Lynn was talking about, the Heox brochure, I circle maybe 3 highlights of each product and I memorize that. And so then I would come out and I'd say, hey, these are the 3 key points that are really phenomenal. What do you think? Or I'll say, hey, when you run out of your exfoliant, John, Peter Thomas Roth, whatever pads you're using, give these a try. And here's why. And so those are some things that I do. The other thing about Lynn saying that, a lot of our clients may not be on all 6 or whatever products. I also tell people, hey, you've got this gold ampule in the morning when you're in a rush and you're taking out your kids to school, whatever, even putting a little bit of that gold ampule onto your skin and then putting on some sunscreen and go. Like you can use these products to fit your lifestyle. So there is flex there. What else, Lynn?
I think that's it.
Good. Okay.
For that. Yeah. And again, when we did our class on Heox, we go through like how to sell it, how to market it and stuff like that. So we do have that in depth.
Yeah. And then one last thing. The Cavipla, it is interesting that the gold goes on after the Cavi, but that is the way that works. The Cavi underneath, and then when you put the Heox gold on top of the Cavi, that delivery system's still working. And so that will bring that Heox gold ampule in with the Cavi. So the question was, Lynn, the 24 karat gold ampule after the Cavi with the question mark. So that's why that works that way.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The little bubbling, the oxygenating process is penetrating that. Okay. Somebody had asked this question and I reached out and I didn't get a response back before class started, just asking what the gold line is. And I didn't know if they meant the Heox line or the Skimbolic gold line. So we already talked about the Heox line. So just really quickly, if somebody was wondering what the Skimbolic gold line is, remember we have access to so many different product lines, probably 7, 8 different product lines. And so there is a Skimbolic gold product line that had a gold facial, and it had like foils, it had a gold serum, it had a gold mask, and that was really, really great for brightening. I found that it was really great kind of for detox and brightening. But what we're doing is we have been replacing a lot of those Skimbolic products, the gold products, in the Heox line and in the HOP line. So in fact, very shortly, we're going to be expanding on the advanced skin tightening facial with the Heox products, and we will be getting gold foils in and things. Okay. So if somebody wants to currently use the Skimbolic as it is, but over about half of it right now is already kind of incorporated into the HOP and the Heox products, just to let you know. So not sure exactly what that person was asking, but I just wanted to mention that. Okay. Next, I'm going to drum roll. We just posted this on the, well, Lydia's going to be posting it on the website, but we have our brand new, people asked about this, our Pro Micro Peel. This is the weekly refiner, and it comes in a 30 pack for treatment room, and each there's 4 mLs in here, you guys. Okay. And you have retail now, 4 packs for retail. Okay, so I want to do a quick little, talk about what this is. I did do a little video, and I also came out with a protocol that's going to be posted very soon on a little 30-minute mini treatment utilizing this peel. But the highlights are that this is, first off, definitely one of its kind. And why is that the case? Because obviously there's a lot of peels out there, right? But this is the first of its kind to have the polylactic acid and the growth factors incorporated with the acids. So there are a total of 24.5% acids, okay, hydroxy acids. We've got gluconolactone, which is a polyhydroxy acid. We've got our lactic and glycolic, which are our alpha hydroxy. And then we have 1% beta hydroxy. And it's kind of this, they chose these specially, like and synergistically, to help with hydrating, brightening, retexturizing. Okay. And breaking up that glue if somebody did have kind of like that congested skin with the BHA. But again, the unique part here, again, combining it with the polylactic acid and the growth factors, I've never, ever, ever had a peel that not only makes the skin feel smooth. We talked about the Tiffany peel. We have had spicules. That was closest I would say I'd get to it, where I felt like my face was plumper, but this is really plump and really hydrated. Okay. So it is going to be used on a sensitive skin client about 2 minutes. On a non-sensitive skin, anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes. It is neutralized in the treatment room. Okay. And by the way, 1 packet, this 4 ml, super generous, easily enough for face, neck, décolleté, and almost hands. Okay. So there have been times where I don't use the full packet. So I don't know if you guys have a little refrigerator in your treatment room. I do. And so I will like just fold it over if I don't use a complete packet, and I save it for the next client. And sometimes I mix and match, and I'm like, if I'm working with some enzymes or something else, I actually might just squeeze a little bit of this in there, and I like just add it. So I never let anything go to waste. So never let these packets go to waste. At the very minimum, use them on yourself, put them on your hands, put it on your chest. The 30 pack, again, is our back bar. And then this 4 pack, and this is something that can be used weekly for a client. And we had this come up. I actually did the video and talked about how would you retail this to your clients, but I'll mention it really quickly here. So why would you do this? Because some people are like, well, and this was one question where people said, hey, how do I know like which products should be just back bar only versus retail? The only product that Rachel and I can really come up with that's like for sure only a back bar is the HOP Paleo Mask, the needle-free filler facial. Okay. Because this is meant to be and can be retailed. But sometimes we get scared. We think, well, if we're selling them like something that we're using in the treatment room, are they going to come in for something, for these treatments? Well, usually the treatments that we're doing in the treatment room are combined with so many other modalities and products that they're not going to get the same results, right? We're doing multiple things in the treatment room. But what's nice about this is it's going to increase the efficacy. So let's just say you did a needle-free filler facial today. If in a couple weeks between treatments, they do, a treatment of this, it's just going to assist in the plumping. It's going to assist in further exfoliation. So it's going to be a benefit. Also great for travel for clients. And clients that can't come in, I have my mentoring program, and we're talking about like how to build clientele. What do we do in the economic downturn? That's why we're coming out with a lot of these 30-minute treatments for you guys. Cause it's like, if people can't afford the 1 hour, the 1.5 hour treatments, we still want people to be able to come in for us to deliver results, but still get paid a good, for our time. But being able to get clients on some home care like this in between, if they can't come in for 2 months, for example, they can still keep up and get some really great results at home. Okay, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else about the micro peel. Again, we're going to have a demo for you guys available, another little blurb on how to retail it. Was there another question, Rachel?
Well, no, I just wanted to say just again how, we got lucky to get a sample of this way back when, and I used it on my husband and myself, and I just about seriously, like, it was incredible just how plump and everything just smoothed out. And so we had I was juicing on my clients. I remember just trying to get out as much as I possibly could. We didn't have the packets. It was this interesting little squeeze thing. And I'm like trying because I just love that effect. So I am very excited for you guys to try this. This is really a very unique, easy, and the fact that it's safe for sensitive skin is pretty incredible. So just want to throw that out there as a extra plug, how much we love it.
So next is contraindications to services, but I want to also kind of tie it into products. Okay. So when you guys are doing your intake form, you're doing your client consultation, right? Contraindications to a service is going to be dependent on two different things. One is it's going to be dependent on modalities, right? So if a client comes to you and they're like, oh, I have a pacemaker or, a defibrillator, we're not going to really be using electrical devices, right? So even if we have a protocol that we suggest, you would omit that, or you would decide to do some LED, or you decide to do some oxygen, right? Or nano, you would just omit the electrical part of that treatment, okay? So this is why we really, really want to stress here that even though we have protocols for you guys, you're going to tweak them depending on if a client has an issue. No different than if a client says they have an allergy to a specific ingredient. Like for example, I have a couple clients that have allergies to pineapple. So I know, and we're not dealing with so much bromelain in terms of the HOP in the AO medical products, but my couple other companies that I'd worked with, several of their products had bromelain, which is the pineapple enzyme, right? So then it wasn't so much my protocol that I was doing. I had to choose a different enzyme product because I had to omit that ingredient. Okay. So same thing. Another thing is in terms of contraindications, pregnancy comes up. So somebody had asked that about pregnancy. In particular, I think they were talking about HOP, but I'm going to talk in general. So typically with pregnancy, right? Usually they're saying avoid modalities like electrical current and things like that. Just any type of thing that if anything did happen to the baby, you don't want it to trace back to, hey, well, she was doing something on me, right? Things like benzoyl peroxide, vitamin A, retinols, right? So as long as you guys know, oh, I have a pregnant client, or I have somebody who's going through cancer treatment or whatever, this is why you guys always have to understand and look at ingredients. So we have the ingredients. We try to get most of them on the website. We're doing that. We've been working with Lydia and trying to make sure they're all fully there, not just like key ingredients, but the boxes have the full ingredient deck in English. Okay. So something that I probably would do if you don't have a lot of products retail on your shelf, or you're just using for back bar, is maybe to take a screenshot, just to keep that for yourself, maybe make a little, binder for yourself with your key ingredients that you have, or key products that you're using, so that you can know like, oh, hey, client has an allergy or pregnancy. Again, other main ingredient, salicylic acid, right? Because they have to avoid that. So that would be in here, the micro peel, even though it's a small amount, it would be in the goat milk peel. Okay. So, and I'll give you an example of something that you can use for pregnancy safe for exfoliation in a sec. So again, when you're talking contraindications, it's going to be client specific and it's going to be dependent upon a particular ingredient with a client. But as a rule of thumb, HOP, like the needle-free filler facial, are there contraindications? Not really. I mean, even a pregnant person could get that treatment. However, if you're going to use a micropeel with it or electrical current, you would just omit those two, substitute out for a different type of exfoliant or an LED, for example, and then just finish with the rest of the treatment. Okay, if that makes sense. Pregnancy Safe, we're so excited to let you guys know. We just posted on it recently. There is so this new product line that Lydia brought in called Trand Me. It's hard for me to say that, but Trand Me. There are a pack of, it's 70 pads with a solution, and the only exfoliant in there is gluconolactone, which is a large molecule polyhydroxy acid, which is pregnancy safe and sensitive skin safe. I've been using it on my clients that have very, very sensitive skin and aggravated rosacea, and it's very gentle. So it'll do a light exfoliation. I don't remove it. Okay. And then I continue on with my treatment. Now, obviously, if I'm putting on a mask at some point, it'll be removed, but I'm at least going through the process where it's put on, it's on for a couple minutes, and then I continue on with my protocol. It can be sold home care as well. And it's very affordable. So again, if you had a client that had super sensitive skin or pregnant, pregnancy safe, because you're not dealing with any of the salicylic acid that there is in like the skin prep. So even though the HOP skin prep is safe for sensitive skin, it still has a little bit of salicylic acid. So you wouldn't use it for your pregnant clients. So anyway, so we're really happy to have that available to us. One product to be able to use for pregnancy. Okay. So that's contraindications. All right, Rachel, do you want to take it next? We have some questions about the HOP.
Yeah, okay, so the next question was how many filler treatments are needed at first with the needle-free filler facial, which is the HOP Pileo mask treatment, and then how often to maintain. We typically recommend starting with a series of 3 to 5 of the needle-free filler facial, and then you get 3 to 5 months of filler-like results. And then when you couple that with the home care, I mean, it can be even more than that or better than that. Oftentimes, though, when you have somebody coming in with hollowing or some need of some volume, you also have some laxity and some need for some lifting and toning and firming. And while that facial does do that, to some degree, obviously, because you're filling up, so you're going to be a little bit of a pulling up when you're plump. We do alternate between the needle-free filler facial and something like the V-line. And now we also have the Heox tightening facial that Lynn had mentioned, that we will get that's going to be up on AO Medical's website soon. And then also it's going to be on YouTube, and it's also in our Facebook group as well. But we alternate there because we find the need. So we're really looking at the client and deciding at that point. I have been known to sell a series that could include one of 3 facials. So we start with a needle-free filler facial. I see how my client responds to that, and then I change accordingly. So obviously, the facials that I'm offering, there's a value equivalent. So they're not, one's not super expensive, one's not cheap, but then I have some flexibility with the client. I let them know, that we're going to see how, what's needed and how we progress. Let's just say it's a little bit more unusual client that I'm working with, her face or her needs, and I'm not quite sure. So that is how we typically work it. I mean, I guess there is a point where, you may do a series of 3. I mean, I have done that, 3 or 4 with a client because she needed massive volume. And then I start to do maybe a monthly maintenance if that really is her issue. The neat thing about this facial is not only does it add that volume and that collagen stimulating property to it, but it does a really nice job of brightening as well. Does great for acne scars. So even if you're not doing a series, doing it on someone you normally wouldn't think, let's say someone with adult acne scarring, you could do that once a month. It's a great facial, or once a quarter. And then you fill it in with, other treatments too. So that is typically, you have flex there, just depend on what you need. And if you have any questions about a particular case, you can always, reach out to us and we can help answer or help you if you can't, need some more advice or some feedback on that. Any downtime with the needle-free filler facial? No. No. The only thing is the 12-hour preferred no water. So, I just set that up before the client comes in, that it's really important that they keep that on. If they have to somehow take a shower after 10 hours, is that the worst thing that can happen in life? No. you know. I mean, I've even had, there's been some cases where people forget, and the facial still works very well. However, the premium, if you really want to do it exceptionally well, then it would be waiting the 12 hours.
Tam just asked, why do we not want to get it wet? Why do we not want water to be added?
Mm-hmm. Well, you want for that case, so you got that encapsulated hydrogen mask that's pushing that PLA into the skin, and you want that skin to, absorb and to connect with it, for lack of better words. So quickly wetting is going to disturb that process and could, dilute on some level. So you want to leave it in full amount or full concentration for that period of time. That seems to be the best that the manufacturer had, when they did their tests and their testing that indicated that that's what that should be. So the results expected from the filler facial, we have tons of before and afters in our group. And then I know that AO Medical has on their Instagram, they're posting people's stuff. And so are we on our Instagram, in addition to our own before and afters. So the expectation, if there isn't a lot of big need for some heavy volume, you could see just a beautiful plumping out of fine lines, wrinkles, a little bit of firming because you are plumping the face. So it does lift up to some degree, a brightening of the face. If you have a huge need for some volume, some deeper wrinkles, you have to set expectations with that client. So you definitely want to not overpromise that first time. So someone that has a bigger need, I am going to say, hey, this is going to be a process. So we're going to start, and then we're going to, we do take before and afters too, because sometimes when someone has such a deep need, they are not going to see. But when I show them, they'll go, oh, okay. So we're starting to fill in here and here, and it's going to take a little bit of time. We also have done this facial on people like pre-bridal. We had an in-person training class, and we did a 27-year-old woman who I wouldn't think needed much of anything. And she looked gorgeous. She looked smoother, glowing, a little bit plumped, firmer, a little bit higher cheekbones, just from the treatment itself. What, Lynn?
Yeah. And I just want to interject here too, that, this is also customizable from the standpoint of last night. So I have, when you guys are working with clients, by the way, you can do the décolleté as an add-on. I take the large piece. So I open a separate packet and I do the big piece. If I have extra pieces that were from the face, you can actually hodgepodge them together, and you can create and do a chest. I charge $85 for the add-on for the chest, and you can cut up pieces and you can do the hands. I do the wrist down. So I would do the peel, a micro peel. I just don't do like modality work here on the hands. And then I, put the mask on, follow through like I would on the face. Well, yesterday I went ahead and did my under eyes, and I did my 11 lines. That's it for myself. Okay. So customizable, you guys, if you have somebody that's just dealing with a lot of furrows here or under eyes or here, you can do that as well. So again, depending on what the client's needs are. Okay. Yep. Like for me, you guys look at my face, a lot of volume there, right? Okay. So like if I do a needle-free filler facial, I don't necessarily need more volume right here, but I definitely need more volume under my eyes. I want to fill in the 11 lines, sometimes my chin area, things like that. So just letting you guys know that you can be very flexible with clients too.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I have done on some of my younger clients that have beautiful volume. However, they are starting to notice the hollowing under the eyes. So I have done just a series of the eyes for them, and that's been fun. And then
how much are you charging for that, Rachel, for the eyes? I charge $65 for the hands, you guys, and I charge $85 for the chest. I can get 2 sets of hands and a chest from one packet of the needle-free filler facial. So what I would do is find out what your total treatment cost is. Like, let's say you guys are at $250, then split it up into like thirds, basically a little bit more for the chest and then the hands. So that's how you work back and figure out what your pricing is going to be for those different areas.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to throw it out there to you, Lynn. I agree, but then I kind of have my own thought on that too, that who is able to get volume restored to their under eyes without injectables. Injectables are really scary and inconsistent what doctors are able to do under there. Who can get that from a facial? And so 75, 85, I mean, you can definitely price an eye 100 or higher, depending upon how you feel about that, because
and time wise, they're still there for,
Yeah, I'm just saying, so keep that in mind for the time wise, but also the value to the client is pretty ginormous, especially with the hands. I've got these bony hands here, hereditary. And I actually had a client that come in, she was talked in by her doctor to get injectables in her hands, and it came out horrible, right? Injectables with the filler. It was terrible, and it was super, super costly. And so if I'm able to do that for her, there's, you could definitely charge accordingly. That's my point there.
Well, I'm charging less if I'm doing add-ons. So just to keep in mind that if someone was coming in
That's
just
true.
for eyes, you guys, I would be charging over $100, right? Because it's the time. But when I'm doing add-ons, they're less because it's not really a lot of extra time for me. So keep that in mind. When I'm doing, I'm
Actually,
still
yes.
charging $250 for the face. I'm doing an additional $85 for the chest and $65 for the hands. I have a client that comes in every month for that, and I put her under the oxygen dome for an additional $50. So she is a $450
Yeah.
treatment for an hour and 45 minutes.
And you're right, Lynn. I do remember that was your add-on price. Sorry. I just
Yes,
remember
that's
that.
okay.
You did tell
That's
me.
okay.
Okay. So there was a question, which products to recommend for home care and which to say for pro use only?
I think I talked about that.
Yep. Lynn had mentioned that, the needle-free filler facial, and obviously any other treatment on AO Medical, for treatment only would be something we don't sell. But on the website, it is there's pretty good indication. It says whether we, we can use this as retail or it's a back bar. So take a look at that too. Any questions, let us know. But pretty much most of the products, specifically in the Heox and the HOP line, are home care, with the exception of the needle-free filler facial, the Pileo mask treatment. So that would be not something that we would retail. The Pileo growth factor ampules, which are right underneath that needle-free filler facial in terms of potency of the PLA, that is up to you whether or not you want to use that exclusively for back bar. I found that some of my clients who are on all my products and are loving them and are really passionate about their anti-aging journey, they want new products from me. So they wanted to buy, which is okay to sell, the Pileo growth factor ampules. And so those, when they're used as home care, you use one ampule a week and you put it in the refrigerator and use it every day, a little bit every day. There's no preservatives, so it has to be refrigerated. So they can either use that routinely or they can use it once a quarter as a booster, for their routine. And then of course, when we're in the treatment room, we would use that a whole one when we're doing a nano or a micro needling or Time Master Pro, or, virtually a number of different devices can be used with. Okay. Let's
Trial
see.
sizes, Rach?
Yep. Did you want to cover that, Lynn? The trial
Yeah, I
sizes?
can do that because so I wasn't sure if somebody had asked whether there's any word on trial size. So I wanted to, and I wasn't sure if they meant samples, or both. But so we're going to talk about that. So yes, there are brand new samples, and a lot of you in your orders are getting some packets that are being sent to you. And let me see, I had one pulled here. So we're getting 30 packs of, I think it's 4 or 5 of the TOV HOP products. So we've got Cavi, we're going to have the promoter repair, moisturizer, I believe we're going to have eye cream, I think at some point cleanser, and I think the sunscreen, maybe. There's like 5 products that we're going to have. Okay. So those are going to be available for purchase. They probably will be available as some gifts, with your free gifts with purchase, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But what I want to mention is because for travel ideas. So a couple things. So we do have now a few of the products that are available in 2 sizes. So we used to have our all mineral sunscreen that was the 5 ounce, right? Now we have a 1.7 ounce. So now you could put that in a little, you guys can create your own little travel packs if you want, by the way. So you could technically go and order online something for yourself, that either a zippy or an organza bag, whatever you want to do. And you could create a travel size, a bag with a small stem cell mist. You could have the small Cavi, 1 ounce. You could have the small sunscreen in there. Okay. And now that we've got the some of these other packets that are coming out, you could even add like one of the micro peels. There's different packets that we'll have available. So you can definitely add those in there and kind of create your own travel size packs. Okay. The other thing is that, again, with these packets that are samples, separate from using them for samples, you guys can put like a 5 of each in a little bag and call that a travel kit for a client, because these are ideal for travel. Perfect. No linking, right? So perfectly sized. They can throw them in their suitcase. They're not going to leak with pressure or anything. So just keep in mind that these were not meant just to be samples. They can actually be packets that you can include and sell to clients. Okay. So keep that in mind. Somebody just asked this, just so I don't remember. I mean, we'll cover Q&A later, but since it popped up right now and I saw it, provider finder. Yes, there is. So for those of you who want to be on the HOP salon provider, salon locator. If you are actively doing the needle-free filler facial, okay, you can let Lydia know. So you can send an email to info@aomedusa.com and say you would like to be on the salon locator. We have found, Rachel and I have gotten people that have searched that way. So somebody can go to the HOP website and they could be like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to do the needle-free filler facial in my area. They'll type in your zip code. And right, it's not just people doing the needle-free filler facial. Usually if you are, you have the HOP products as well. So just let Lydia know that.
And then that's so good for you to do that, to let Lydia know to get on there, because we have people from our Instagram. So Lynn and I don't sell directly to the public. We sell obviously directly in our skincare practices, but not online. And so we send them to the finder. So if you're listed there, people can find you.
Okay. So we walked through already pregnancy safe, ingredients, modalities, standard, like what you would do for anything else. Okay. Somebody had asked if we're using topical facial estrogen, where would it fit in the Heox PLLA home care program? Okay. So I've never heard of that personally for the face. I've heard of it for other body parts, but I haven't heard of that for the face. So I'm assuming it's for thickening of the skin, because that's typically where you would use an estrogen cream, is for other female areas. With regard to that, it would again be thinnest to thickest. Typically, if you're going to be adding a prescription, I don't know if it comes in cream form. The person just said topical facial estrogen, so I don't know if it's cream or gel. Thinnest to thickest. So you could apply a little of that. There really wouldn't be a contraindication to using the HOP product. So I would probably just apply it thinnest to thickest, again, if I was at nighttime going to be using an exfoliant, I probably would do the exfoliant first, just because that's going to be kind of eating up some of the dead skin. Then I probably would do the topical prescription cream, and then I would continue from there. Okay. Can you suggest something for extremely dry skin? My go-tos for extremely dry skin are Dr. Esti, the Rejuvenating Ampule, love, packed with natto gum and sodium PDRN, and which is a salmon DNA, which is really, really hydrating. Also, natto gum is like 5 times more binding to water than hyaluronic acid. And then I also love the dual barrier lotion. So my clients, especially my rosacea clients in Wisconsin that are really, really dry and get assaulted out here when they're walking their dogs, for example, that dual barrier lotion is really decadent. And just a little heads up, we're working on, we love many things with Lydia in AO Medical and TOV, but we're always looking at formulating new products. We have new things coming in the pipeline. Okay. So we talked to you guys in our spicule class, how we're working on an polylactic acid spicule eye patch program. Okay. Well, we're also working on a hydrating balm, because we realize that some people using the HOP products are wanting more hydration. Okay. So just letting you know, Rachel and I are kind of guinea pigging some of that right now, and we're loving it. So soon coming down the pipeline. We don't know exact dates yet, but that's in the pipeline. So for now, I would say the Rejuvenating Ampule for Dr. Esti and the Dual Barrier Lotion from Dr. Esti as well. Someone had asked, Rachel, do you want to mention this, or do you want me just to cite about being a doctor?
Yeah, the AO medical part, I think you do not need to. Medical does not mean that you have to have any kind of background in that. Just esthetician, licensed, owner of a spa, etc.
Yeah, and that's for protocols. But again, if you guys were buying some of the equipment on there, like let's just say the UR device with the radio frequency microneedling, right? Okay, that would be, in our state, that would be more of a medical device. Some states you guys can do that. Okay, so again, if you're looking more at devices, then you would have to go by what's under your scope of practice in your state. But as far as the actual products, nope. People do need to be licensed, or at least in a health and wellness or a skincare industry, to have their account with AO Medical, but you don't need to be a doctor for any of the products. Costs. People have asked, what do we recommend for the cost of our services? Okay, that's going to depend on what you're actually doing. So let's just start with the needle-free filler facial. The minimum that we can advertise is $150 for that treatment. Most of us are combining it with a peel, some kind of a peel, whether it's a goat milk peel, now the micro peel, and modalities. If you're combining it with modalities, I would say most of us are doing 200 plus. Okay. And it's also going to be by time. I would say that if you're doing the needle-free filler facial and I was not doing any modality work, I probably could get it done in about an hour. But when I combine my modalities with my little peel, I'm at about 75 minutes. Okay. Rachel, I believe, does about an hour and a half because she does more modality work, and then she's over 300 for hers. Okay. So again, you're going to look at minimum 150 is if you're just doing a basic standalone. And even, to be honest, even if you're in an area that's a little bit more suppressed, you don't have as much, it's a little bit harder to get, a lot more money for treatments. Even if you're doing some modalities, I still wouldn't be really less than 175 with that. Okay. Because this is something that lasts for a minimum of 6 weeks, especially if they're on home care, and it delivers results. It's not really like a facial. Okay. So keep that in mind. My other treatments that I do, and Rachel, so for me, my glass facial is 250. That's with the oxygen dome. My V-line treatment and my Heox treatment are 200. I'm combining it with cold plasma with Dr. Platon. So again, if you guys are combining modalities, even if it's 10 minutes and or some peel or something in there, most of my higher and advanced treatments tend to be in that range. And if anybody has questions, on a specific protocol, you can let us know. Usually when we do our classes, and by the way, I forgot to mention that separate from the, like a Heox class or the oxygen class or the Dr. Platon class, for example, we do have classes that we have done, and we're going to be getting the rest of them uploaded to YouTube. We have a class on acne, a class on rosacea, a class on melasma and hyperpigmentation, where we're talking about protocols, treatment room products, and home care suggestions. Okay. And then we also when we talk about different protocols, we give suggestions in there about prices as well. Free gifts with purchase, because that has come up. Start populating your cart. So as soon as you get over 500, for example, or a particular amount, you go back to the drop-down menu, and the last line item is going to say free offer, gift by dollar amount. Then you go in there, and as long as you've reached that particular dollar amount, you can add the free gift. So that gets added to your cart. The other reminder is that the free gifts will sit in the cart for about 24 hours. So if you have your cart sitting there and hanging out and you do not check out, remember that it's going to drop out. So you need to make sure you go back and add it. To let us know, or let your rep know ASAP with your order number that you missed something, because Lydia, chances are she usually throws something in, but she can't go back after the fact and ship, because she'd have hundreds of people going back and saying, hey, with my next order, can you add something? So again, once you get into the habit, put a sticky note up. I mean, for Rachel and myself, I always want that free gift. We have this thing, and I forgot to mention, I want to make sure you guys know this, on YouTube and in our Facebook group. And I believe even Lydia sent this out. I did a video on how to maximize profitability with AO Medical. We cover how to find specials, how to get the free gift, how to check out, how to get your free shipping. We walk through the website and how to find all that stuff. So I think that's really going to be important for you guys to watch it. It's not a super long video, but the website can be a little cumbersome at times to navigate. So we want to make sure that you're not leaving any of that on the table. Because when we mentioned in the beginning, when Rachel and I said that we still bring in really, really good money and do super well, it has a lot to do with the fact also that you can take advantage of all the specials and the free gifts. So you spend $1,000, you guys, and you get the 2 free Heox products that you're selling at almost 300. Whoa, you just brought your cost of that $1,000 down by, $300. So, and then anyway, so there's lots of great ways to maximize profitability. So please check that out. It's on YouTube or in the Facebook group as well.
Yeah. And the YouTube, the Esti Sisters, ESTI, the Esti Sisters YouTube.
Yeah. Yes.
That is a good video that you did, Lynn. A good one. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. For Rachel, do you want to talk about background selling tips? Because I'm not sure we're not exactly sure what people meant there, but we'll take a stab at it.
We do a lot of sampling in terms of selling, a lot of sampling. I tend to give at least 5 days of the Cavi or the promoter repair cream of the HOP line to my clients. And I tell them to call me in 5 days, and it's extraordinary. That tends to work for me. I also, before I even gave them the sample, I used to show them the before and after of a client that actually used it for 10 days and then for a couple months, and I showed the progression, and that seems to do really well too. The other huge thing is I do not like sales. If you tell me to go sell this car right now, like kind of an impromptu type of thing, I would really be terrible. So the reason why I feel like I've been really successful with selling is because I use it. I test it. I feel it. I use it on my mother, my husband, or whoever's around. And I can then walk in and say, okay, just let me tell you, And so I'm not kidding, right? I'm like, this is what is going on. This is what I'm seeing. And so then they're like, oh my gosh, so that's easy. So if you don't feel good with selling, use the product on yourself, your friend, your father, mother, whatever, take it before and after, highlight some key points, and then you just share and go, hey, genuinely, you don't have to be obviously like me, but you can just be like, hey, I just want you to know I've been using it and here's what I've seen. And I'd love for you to try this. I mean, that sounds very compelling to me. Since you're my Esti, I would listen to that. So that is some selling tips.
Yeah. And,
yeah,
and Pam just mentioned in the chat, sorry, about like people don't know TOV. It doesn't really matter. People aren't going to know any of the Korean skincare lines. Okay, nope. They aren't, right? So you just talk about Korean skincare, a leading Korean skincare brand, cosmeceutical brand, blah blah blah, and then talk about the people know more about K beauty in general than Kin or Story. They're not going to know about individual brands.
Nope. Yeah. And then I do say that it's sold all around the world. It's actually leading in top spas and also medical spas in Korea. And the great thing about, well, they're not a huge marketing machine, so they don't spend mass amounts of money on marketing. And so for us, Esti's good for us is that we don't have mass amounts of
keeps the cost down too.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're not like selling it all over Amazon and everybody and their brother, right? So we have that for us. And then the neat thing to the client is you got like kind of an what do you call it? The inside track. The inside track to some pretty awesome stuff. I do also, if I'm trying to sell a client, that say that this needle-free filler facial came out years ago by a celebrity facialist, and it's written up in Harper's Bazaar magazine. And sometimes, if you need to print that article off and have it posted, but that's how it kind of became put on the map. And then they created a home care line around that facial. And even like the O2 derm machine, let's say I've got that machine, the oxygen machine. I'll say, the celebrities, you see them on Instagram, and I sometimes even have those pictures printed off if I need to. They got a Molly Sims, a whole bunch of other stars. That's our dome. And so this really is the only one that has a certified oxygen. That's a certified oxygen generator. Like so other machines out there can't provide that. We can. So I know what this is doing to your skin. I'm like, oh. So I mean, those are the things, that I say that help. The other thing, Forbes magazine listed the needle-free filler facial as the top 10 must-have. So it definitely is getting around there. So I share that with them too. So,
okay. So we had a question about best products for microneedling. So we have several, but we picked our top 3 for you guys. Okay. So this can be a little bit confusing at times because again, we have so many brands there. So sometimes you'll see new things being promoted, or an email goes out and you're like, wow, well, now we got another ampule. Okay. Right. So obviously there's going to be overlap, right? So we still always look at the ingredients. Rachel and I were like, okay, well, which one's going to deliver maximum results? Hands down, you guys, my 2 top favorites from AO Medical for microneedling, or what I would do for nano as well, for those of you who can't do microneedling, are going to be the Paleo Growth Factor, which has all the polylactic acid and the growth factors, okay, and hyaluronic acid, yada, yada, lots of great ingredients, okay? Number 1. And by the way, that has the second highest amount of polylactic acid to the actual filler facial itself. Number 2, Dr. Booster. It's a weird name, but it's from Dr. Esti, and it has 20% human adipose tissue. It's got peptides, salmon PDRN. It's got growth factors as well. I would use the Dr. Booster if you really have somebody that's dealing with a lot of fat loss. Okay, so that's when you're going to use that one. And then third, there is a Duomore brightening growth factor ampule that has arbutin in it. So if you had somebody that was specifically in your microneedling and is dealing with hyperpigmentation, remember PLLA does do a lot of brightening. And usually we have overlap. Usually we're working with people with anti-aging, hyperpigmentation too. So that would be probably number 3. But really, if you had to just pick the top 2, I would pick the Paleo Growth Factor and the Dr. Booster, and you can cocktail the 2 together. So you can mix and do half and half if you're microneedling. Now, just as a tip, people ask this, how do we put it on? We go ahead and we do have a video. Rachel and I have a video in our, I don't know if we have it on YouTube yet. We do have it in our private Facebook group, but I do layer after I've cleansed before microneedling, and I, kind of prep with my alcohol prep just to make sure everything's sanitary. Got my gloves on. I do put a layer of my ampule on first on a particular area. Let's just say my forehead. I go ahead, I do my microneedling, finish up with another layer of my ampule. Okay. Now at the very end, people have asked us, like, what products do you use after that? Right. So typically you don't really want to put a lot on the skin after you've microneedled, but if you're sending a client home, I definitely would put some of the HOP all mineral sunscreen just for protection. Now, the next day, you can go ahead and put something that's going to be really supportive with wound healing, right? So the repair cream by Dr. S, by HOP, or we have the Trand Me post-recovery cream as well. So there's a couple that have the Centella asiatica extract for wound healing that's really beneficial. So that would be our microneedling option.
Mention that we do create facials around these too. You can create simple 30-40 minute microneedling facials, because the impact that this Dr. Booster, for example, has in just one treatment is pretty profound. So that's a great.
And I've gone ahead, by the way, you guys, we did create a nano treatment like this, but I have done this with microneedling where I've done the paleo growth factor on myself, and then I've gone ahead and done, because I can't microneedle legally in Wisconsin, but I can nano. But then I've done the 24 karat gold mask after that, and it's lovely, man, really packed. So I have done that. And also with microneedling, for those of you who have modalities, microneedling, I don't know if Desiree, somebody asked this, but like if you have the O2 Derm, the Oxygen Dome, by the way, that's still on sale this month, great deal. I put my people post fibroblast under the Oxygen Dome, post microneedling, UR radiofrequency microneedling, regular microneedling, any more traumatic experience, like something that has a little bit more trauma to the skin, putting them under the Oxygen Dome, but just by itself, is amazing. Really, really helps to speed up that healing process. Okay. Somebody asked back bar products, training videos. I'm assuming this might be someone not working with us, because for those of you working with us, we have a ton of support videos, classes, demos, written protocols. We're trying to get more of that on the website, on the Esti Sisters YouTube channel. Hopefully your reps, by the way, if you have questions on, basic protocols, but remember, Rachel and I create our own protocols. So a lot of the people that are working with us, a lot of these protocols, we have probably 20 of them now. A lot of the protocols that we have are ones that we've developed. But basic protocols you're going to find on the website, like how to do a basic needle-free filler facial, how to do a basic beeline. And then Rachel and I kind of take it from there where we want to really get maximum results. So we do have a lot of this, like I said, in our video demos that are on YouTube. People in our group, you're going to find them there. You can do a search in the search bar. You can type in written protocols. They'll all appear. You can type in a specific protocol or, facial name, and it'll pop up as well. Okay. So again, website, YouTube, reach out to your rep.
But I also just wanted to highlight or show you that when you're on the website, to find that, you go to AO Medical Treatments, and then you're going to go down to MTS growth factors, and all those items there have been approved for microneedling. So obviously you can do nano, but that those are safe for microneedling. So that's,
and just to let you know, the gold ampule is only approved for nano, not for microneedling with the Heox, because of the gold flakes in it. So that has been asked. So I want to let you know that you can nano this one, but you just can't microneedle.
Yep. And then just to let you know that gold ampule from the Heox line is not listed underneath the MTS growth factors. So I just want you to know. Yep. So underneath growth factors, that the MTS growth factor menu item, that is safe for microneedling. And then each one will have the descriptions on what each does.
Number 24, I'm going to talk about a little bit. We already talked a lot about retailing. Starts with the consultation, but really, if you guys haven't shared this with your clients, when I'm doing a consultation, I let my clients know that I'm going to afterwards be taught, after I do the first facial, for example, with them, or during the consultation, you're going to let them know that you're going to develop a treatment protocol and a home care protocol for them. Okay. And so you let your clients know for home care that 65% plus of the results that they're going to see is what they're using at home. I also say to my clients, if I know that my clients have to choose between coming in for a facial and home care, I want them on home care. I want them to, that's going to change them. And the great thing to know, you guys, Rachel and I have some before and afters in our Facebook group, including her mom, that people that are just on HOP home care, after 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, will look like different people just on home care, not even having any professional treatments done. Okay. So it is really important to know that, let your clients know that. So if you believe and you know that, and again, be a product of the product, start with one product, just start with the Cavi serum. when Rachel and I go to the trade shows, you know, one of the gifts Lydia is very generous to give out is a stem cell mist. Okay. And we've had people just say, oh my gosh, that stem cell mist is amazing. That was the first home care product we had years ago. And Rachel used to sample it to clients like in a little roller ball under their eyes. And they'd be like, oh my gosh, I need to have that. It's packed. It's not really a toner. It's actually packed with stem cells, plant stem cells, caviar. It's packed with the growth factors, the polylactic acid. Okay. So that's just in terms of, again, effectively selling retail is going to start with your consultation and giving the expectations. Your clients are looking to you for suggestions. And somebody had to tell me a long time ago, they said, Lynn, clients are going to be using products from somewhere, right? And so they might as well be using what we recommend that's going to be best to get them to where they want to go. Now, obviously, if you have a client that comes to you and they're using soap or water, which can happen, you're going to start really simple. You're going to be like, I'm going to get you on a cleanser and I'm going to get you on a sunscreen. Okay. So you're going to start small with them, but that's the biggest step. They've actually come in to see you and to talk to you. So they know they're going to have to make modifications. Okay. But you start super slow with them. Somebody had asked best hydration products. My favorite for hydration is going to be the Dr. Esti Rejuvenating Ampule and the Aqua Infusion Water Drop. And that is a really, really great one, especially it's very clean, EWG green. That's really, really great for like your acne rosacea clients as well. So hydration, rosacea is all about hydration, you guys. Best lifting products is going to be your Heox line because that's going to tighten and lift. So Heox products. So if a client needs support with lifting at home, it's going to be the Heox products. Dr. Platon, someone asked more about Dr. Platon. What I will refer you, I'm just going to give a couple second here highlight on what Dr. Platon is, and then I'm going to refer you to our YouTube channel. So the Dr. Platon is our cold plasma device. Plasma, for those of you not familiar with plasma, there's hot plasma or fibroblast plasma, and then there is cold plasma. I know some have like the warm plasma or whatever in between, but typically the hot plasma or the one that would be more in like, we used to have a polymer fibroblast plasma would create an intense, what do you call it? Intentional trauma to the skin. Okay. And then it kind of scabs up and then it falls off and it's this nice regenerative process stimulating new fibroblasts. Cold plasma is the fourth state of matter. It's basically ionized gas. It can be confusing for people because sometimes people hear in a bunch of different groups and stuff, oh, like it's using ozone or something. Well, actually the plasma that we're using with Dr. Platon, it's using the nitrogen in the air, and air is made up of 70% nitrogen. So when you send energy, ions through the ceramic plate and it's hitting with the nitrogen in the air, it's stimulating plasma in the case of the Dr. Platon. Okay. The main benefits of cold plasma increases product penetration by 24% over the next 12 hours. Great for oxygenating melanin in the skin, helps with skin tightening, creating new fibroblast activity as well. Also is antibacterial, antifungal. So it's a really amazing treatment to add. And Desiree, I know you used it, with a different line. So somebody had asked, this was another question, like, how do I work with jet plasma with our protocols? If you're working with cold plasma, whether it's the Tonisher, whether it's jet plasma, some other company, Louise Walsh, whether it's Pro Plasma, whatever device you're using, cold jet, where you would be using what we recommend is we recommend cleaning the skin. Then we do our plasma work for cold plasma. I'm not talking hot plasma or fibroblast. I'm talking cold plasma. We use it then because of that increase in product penetration, creating those microchannels. So everything else that we're putting on the skin is going to actually penetrate better. So we recommend doing it on clean, dry skin in the beginning of the treatment. So again, if you don't have the Dr. Platon, you're working with another cold plasma device, that is what we would recommend, putting it in that particular part of the facial treatment. Okay. So again, if somebody has, even if Rachel and I say, oh, we're using this ultrasound device or this microcurrent device, if you guys have something else or different LED, go ahead and use that. Okay. Again, what you have, use it. We don't recommend people doubling up and getting 5 of the same kind of, modality. So use what you have as long as it's indicated for your client. Okay. Okay, so that was jet, fibroblast treatments. And then last but not least, before we get on to the other questions, so Desiree, in terms of fibroblasts, for those of you working with fibroblasts, we recommend, because we don't right now, AO Medical, we used to have the Premier device. We right now don't have that. We're not working with that particular device. And only because we're not doing as much of the more aggressive treatments. But if somebody is doing that, you first want to follow the manufacturer, suggested protocols. Okay. Because some will say use maybe Aquaphor. I don't know what they're going to say, use post. You might even have a proprietary serum or something that comes with the manufacturer. So we're always going to defer to the manufacturer of a device that we're not selling. So that's first. Typically, how I would, and I don't know if you want to mention anything here, Desiree, I know you asked the question, but I would say that Rachel and I look at it more like as a controlled burn, because that's essentially what's happening topically. So it is going to be, the next 7 days are going to be basically just, I would say, light hydration and sunscreen, super protection from the sun, all mineral SPF preferred. And the HOP sunscreen would be great because it has the growth factors, the polylactic acid in it, a black fermented royal jelly, very soothing, very healing in the rose water. And then after that, it's going to be about stimulating, the healing. So the Centella asiatic extract is in a lot of the Korean skincare. So it's in your HOP promoter repair. It's in the post-recovery cream. So that particular ingredient is Gotu-Kola, and it's all about wound healing. So now, and I don't know how many weeks out, Desiree, I saw different things kind of conflicted, but in some cases it said up to 12 weeks of not even doing an official treatment on the skin. And then with the needle-free filler facial, the only thing I would suggest, and depending, now if you're working just with the eye area, versus full face, but remember that when you guys use that needle-free filler facial mask and you apply, sometimes when you pull it off, depending if people have vellus hair, it can be a little active pulling it off. Like, some people, it's almost like a little waxing. Now, unless you completely spritzed it and tried to make it really soft, pulling it off, yeah. But that would be more my question. Isn't so much the ingredients, it would be the physicality of removing that mask.
If you don't follow us on Instagram, the Esti Sisters, so THE_STI and then _sisters, we do have notifications of these classes on there. And I know that AO Medical sends them out as well. And then just to remind those that are not working with anyone, please reach out. The estisisters.com has that free discovery call. We'd be happy to jump on and talk to you, because some of the stuff we could just help guide you to get the information that you need. What else? Oh, we're trying to do the YouTube thing. So if you guys want to follow us there, we'd love to see more subscribers. So if you want to see like full demo videos that are right there on the YouTube, go to our channel, the Esti Sisters, and subscribe, and then you'll get notifications. And then the other thing is, if you want to be notified, which you guys seem to be finding this, the Eventbrite, but subscribe to that. You can subscribe to that, and then they'll let you know when we have these classes also. The last thing I just wanted to say is that Lynn and I are putting together some additional business classes, like the art of retail. We'll be putting out, and we'll notify through Instagram, through our private Facebook group, and then also any other way. And one of those.
Okay, so Rachel, I'm going to start going through. If you want to just go through and look at some of the questions and read those out, because I'm going to start going through for the drawings with looking at people's names. So again, first name and email address for people for the drawings, please. Thank you. Unless you already did it. If you did it above, I will see that.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Well, to people to put their names in, but if you could start going through some of the questions that we might not have covered, that would be great.
Oh yeah, I don't see any additional questions.
There were some in there further down.
Well, I've been answering them. If you guys, I have been answering questions like the protocol or any for spots on the hands. I've been personally treating my own too. I've got one, it's bugging me, but I do the cold plasma. That's a really big deal. But as far as products, I've been using off and on Dr. Esti vitamin C, and then also the Dr. Esti has a skin whitening serum that I'm finding to be effective. I'm using it on my chest right now. The new HOP Paleo Prep, and I put all this in the chat. That Paleo Prep has a lot of snow mushroom, which mimics kojic acid. So if I can think of that at night, I slap some of that on there, and then I put on top my Dr. Esti whitening serum. So that was one of the questions. Love the feedback about the Dr. Platon. Yay, I'm glad you guys are enjoying that.
And if you guys have some additional questions, feel free to post them in there too.
And then someone had asked, just, TOV is not well known. So Lynn and I don't necessarily market TOV. That is the manufacturer of HOP and Heox. So when we say well known are the brands. So formerly Sculpla, HOP, formerly Sculpla in Korea. And Lynn, by the way, is Korea still using the Sculpla name?
Korea still does, yes.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, so just keep that in mind, you guys, if you're going, wait, I don't hear about it, or somebody in Korea, they're not hearing about it. So they still are using that, but it's still the same, same products. Is the strength of the micro peel the same in retail and Bakpar? It is. It is the same. It's, yep, the new micro peel. Can we provide a link to the Forbes article? Yeah, Nancy, I could put it in the group. Basically, what I do is when I need it, I search, I Forbes magazine top must-have bridal facials. I'll do that. If you guys are on Instagram, that is really the best way to get a hold of us if you want to chat personal. And that's _ESTI_sisters. If you're in our group and we are already your rep, you can post questions. We prefer you post questions there. It's a, specific thing that we need to talk privately or personally about your order or something like that. Leanna, class, how to start in Korean skincare. Please go to our website, theestisisters.com. And there is a link for a phone call. And I think that might be the best way to start, to hop on a call. And then we can kind of tell you a little bit more about how these lines and treatment, you can bring them into your practice. So that would be my recommendation there. One more question. The 24 karat gold eye cream has retinol. It has retinoic acid.
No, retinaldehyde.
Sorry. Yeah. That converts to retinoic acid. So yes, the retinaldehyde that is taking out that sensitivity. So you're not there's a conversion that goes on. And so it's past that conversion that causes that redness and irritation. So it's very gentle.
You can use it during the day as well.
Yeah, because it is so gentle and safe. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for being on. Happy holidays. Again, I'm hoping that you guys put in here what you want more support with.
Yes.
And I hope you guys, and thank you for staying on.
Yeah. And Lynn and I are going to come out with a better schedule. So you guys will know in advance, what the year looks like and where we're heading and all that kind of stuff in terms of trade shows and
some in-person classes. Yes, we're looking at trade shows. We're looking at adding on Philly, you guys. I'm going to be doing a business class in there along with another class. So I know we haven't been out east yet for that. So anyway, we'll keep you guys posted though. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
We appreciate you.